Welcome, friends, to this inter-ministerial briefing on the updates on the West Asia developments, where the concerned ministries will share the latest updates from the respective sectors. May I first invite Ms. Aparna Sharma, Additional Secretary, Department of Fertilizers, to share her remarks.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon. Namaskar. On behalf of Department of Fertilizer, I would like to apprise the gathering that the fertilizer availability remains robust and the supplies continue to exceed the requirement. The Department of Fertilizer reaffirms the fertilizer security, which is strong, stable, and well managed, with availability consistently exceeding the requirement across all major fertilizers, and no shortages have been reported so far. The strong supply position in the Kharif season, I would like to give some facts about it. For the period from 1st April to 26th April, the availability remains substantially higher than the requirement. Urea availability is 71.58 LMT against a requirement of 18.17 LMT. Similarly, DAP availability is 22.35 LMT against 5.90 LMT across the country. We have seen that there's a strong opening position in all the fertilizer in the ongoing Kharif season. Further reinforcing our preparedness for the Kharif 2026, the fertilizer requirement has been assessed at 390.54 LMT, against which our stock position is 190.21 LMT, which is about 49% of opening stock is already available, which is supposed to be usually 33%. So against 33%, already 49% stock is available. This is also supported by advanced stocking, efficient logistics, which has been managed very well so far. To ensure sustained availability, the government has already diversified its import sources, and if any shortfall, wherever any shortfall has been noticed, it has been overcome with strong our diversified portfolio and imports. In the urea sector, global tender already 13.07 LMT of urea was secured in the month of February. And now tender of 25 LMT of urea has been successful, and we'll be getting the supplies shortly, which will start in the month of May 25. MRP of all major fertilizer remains the same. There is no change. Urea continues at rupees 266.5 per 45 kg bag. DAP continues to be at 1350 per 50 kg bag. The domestic production also, which is even after the crisis, we have been able to manage a very strong position. The production of urea since in March and April has been very good and robust. The issues relating to natural gas availability for domestic urea production have also been addressed with a steady supply of gas, and presently 97% LNG, RLNG is available to the fertilizer plants. तो भारत सरकार के प्रयासों से घरेलू उत्पादन में भी लगातार वृद्धि हो रही है. Further, I would like to apprise that the global tender for other than urea fertilizer, such as DAP, TSP, and ammonium sulfate, also has been floated based on the aggregated demand of the companies, and already 12 LMT DAP, 4 LMT TSP, and 3 LMT ammonium sulfate has been floated last Friday. This will help to ensure adequate availability during the peak season. So at present, we don't foresee any major issues in the availability of inputs as well as for finished fertilizer. On the review front, 6 meetings of the empowered group of secretary, of which our department is leading the way have already been held by Secretary Fertilizer to ensure adequate availability of fertilizer, as well as any issues which are to be addressed, any challenges, they are immediately addressed. The Indian fertilizer security remains strong and stable. Thank you.
Thank you. I now invite Ms. Sujata Sharma, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, to provide updates on the fuel supply situation.
नमस्कार। जैसा कि आप जानते हैं, वेस्ट एशिया क्राइसिस के चलते हमारे एनर्जी इंपोर्ट्स प्रभावित हुए हैं, परंतु भारत सरकार की यह कोशिश रही है कि घरेलू एलपीजी, पीएनजी उपभोक्ताओं को और सीएनजी ट्रांसपोर्ट को पूरी तरह 100% प्रोटेक्ट करते हुए सप्लाई इंश्योर की जाए, और ये किया गया है। इसके अलावा कमर्शियल एलपीजी का एलोकेशन भी 70% तक इंक्रीज किया जा चुका है। अभी भी कई एलपीजी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटरशिप्स पर पैनिक बाइंग दिख रही है। मैं आपके माध्यम से सभी लोगों को ये बताना चाहती हूँ कि हमारे पास एलपीजी की पर्याप्त सप्लाई है और इसके चलते किसी भी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर पर कोई ड्राई आउट नहीं है। 93% सप्लाई डिलीवरी एलपीजी सिलेंडर की ऑथेंटिकेशन कोड के द्वारा की जा रही है, और इसका महत्व यह है कि डाइवर्जन को रोका जा सके। इसके अलावा कल रविवार होने के बावजूद भी कई सारे डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स ने एलपीजी के सिलेंडर्स की डिलीवरी की है। कमर्शियल एलपीजी के संबंध में अप्रैल के महीने में अब तक लगभग 1,65,600 टन से अधिक कमर्शियल एलपीजी की सेल की जा चुकी है। मार्च के महीने में यह अमाउंट 1,29,500 टन के करीब थी। इसी तरह ऑटो एलपीजी अप्रैल के महीने में अभी में 386 टन पर डे के हिसाब से सेल हो रही है, जबकि यही अमाउंट जनवरी के महीने में और फरवरी के महीने में लगभग 177 टन पर डे थी। तो आप देखते हैं कि ऑटो एलपीजी की सेल भी पीएसयू ओएमसीज के द्वारा लगभग दुगनी की जा रही है। 5 किलो के सिलेंडर के संबंध में भी 1 अप्रैल से अभी तक 19.5 लाख से अधिक 5 किलो के सिलेंडर्स की सेल हुई है। 9,080 से अधिक अवेयरनेस कैंप हुए हैं, और इन कैंपों में लगभग 1,46,000 5 किलो के सिलेंडर्स की सेल हुई है। कल भी 110 कैंप हुए हैं, और इन कैंप्स में 3,430 सिलेंडर की सेल हुई है। नेचुरल गैस के संबंध में जैसा आप जानते हैं कि भारत सरकार की ये कोशिश है कि पीएनजी नेटवर्क को एक्सपैंड किया जाए। इसके चलते मार्च महीने से अब तक लगभग 5,52,000 से अधिक पीएनजी कनेक्शंस को गैसीफाई किया गया है। इसके अलावा 2,63,000 नए कनेक्शंस के लिए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर क्रिएट किया गया है, और 6,21,000 से अधिक नए कंज्यूमर्स भी पीएनजी कनेक्शन के लिए रजिस्टर हुए हैं। अभी तक लगभग 42,600 से अधिक पीएनजी कंज्यूमर्स ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने अपने एलपीजी कनेक्शंस को सरेंडर किया है। पेट्रोल पंप पर भी कोई सप्लाईज सभी नॉर्मल है, लेकिन कुछ जगह पर पैनिक बाइंग देखी जा रही है, जिसकी वजह से इंटरमिटेंटली कुछ प्रॉब्लम जो आ रही है उसको तुरंत सॉर्ट आउट भी किया जा रहा है। मैं दोबारा से ये सभी से प्रार्थना करूंगी कि पेट्रोल और डीजल की सप्लाई भी नॉर्मल है। कृपया पैनिक बाइंग से और अफवाहों से बचें और आवश्यकता के अनुसार ही क्रय करें। एनफोर्समेंट एक्शन भी जारी है, और कल लगभग 1,800 जगह पर इंस्पेक्शंस या रेड की गई हैं। पीएसयू ओएमसीज के द्वारा भी अब तक लगभग 310 डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स पर पेनल्टी लगाई है, और 71 एलपीजी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स को सस्पेंड किया जा चुका है। अंत में अपनी बात को मैं दोहराते हुए आप सभी के माध्यम से सभी लोगों से ये प्रार्थना करना चाहूँगी कि कृपया अफवाहों पर विश्वास न करें और ज़रूरत के हिसाब से ही एलपीजी, पेट्रोल और डीजल का क्रय करें। धन्यवाद।
Thank you. I would next invite Shri Mandeep Singh Randhawa, Director, Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways, to share updates on shipping related issues.
नमस्कार। 25 अप्रैल 2026 को एक टोगो फ्लैग्ड केमिकल टैंकर MT सिरोन से जुड़ा हुआ एक इंसिडेंट रिपोर्ट हुआ है, जिसके टोटल क्रू में कुछ भारतीय नाविक भी हैं। ये घटना शनास आउटर पोर्ट लिमिट ओमान से हुई है। ये जहाज कुछ अन्य जहाज़ों के साथ गुजर रहा था, जिसको ईरानियन कोस्ट गार्ड ने इंटरसेप्ट करने को कहा और उन्होंने वार्निंग शॉट्स फायर किए। सभी भारतीय नाविक सुरक्षित हैं। पतन पोत परिवहन और जल मार्ग मंत्रालय लगातार विदेश मंत्रालय, भारतीय मिशनों और मैरीटाइम स्टेक होल्डर के साथ संपर्क में है और नाविकों की सुरक्षा और मैरीटाइम ऑपरेशन सुनिश्चित के लिए वचनबद्ध है। क्षेत्र में मौजूद सभी भारतीय नाविक सुरक्षित हैं। पिछले 24 घंटों में किसी भी इंडियन फ्लैग वेसल से जुड़ी कोई घटना रिपोर्ट नहीं हुई। डीजी शिपिंग कंट्रोल रूम के एक्टिवेशन के बाद अब तक 7,780 कॉल्स और 16,650 से अधिक ईमेल्स हैंडल किए जा चुके हैं। पिछले 24 घंटों में 25 कॉल और 140 ईमेल प्राप्त हुए हैं। मंत्रालय ने डीजी शिपिंग के माध्यम से अब तक 2,770 से अधिक भारतीय नाविकों की सुरक्षित वापसी सुनिश्चित की है, जिनमें से 12 नाविकों को पिछले 24 घंटों में गल्फ क्षेत्र से के विभिन्न स्थानों से वापस लाया गया है। भारत की सभी बंदरगाह सामान्य रूप से ऑपरेशन कर रही हैं और किसी भी पोर्ट पे किसी तरह की कंजेशन की कोई सूचना नहीं है। धन्यवाद।
Thank you. I now invite Shri Randhir Jaiswal, Additional Secretary XP, Ministry of External Affairs, to share updates on the developments in the Gulf region.
Thank you, ma'am. On the direction of the Prime Minister, India has continued to expand its outreach to countries in the Gulf region. We had the National Security Advisor, Shri Ajit Doval, paying an official visit to the UAE on 25th and 26th of April. He called on the President of the UAE, where he conveyed the greetings of our Prime Minister to him, and both sides discussed measures to further deepen India-UAE comprehensive strategic partnership. They also discussed the regional situation as also other issues of mutual interest. Let me remind you that this marks the second high-level visit from India to the UAE within a month. Earlier, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, he had visited UAE on 11th and 12th of April. He met his counterpart in the UAE, as also called on the President of the UAE, wherein he conveyed gratitude for ensuring the well-being of the Indian community during the conflict. EM also thanked the President for his guidance to further strengthening of the India-UAE comprehensive strategic partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. I invite next Shri Asim R. Mahajan, Additional Secretary Gulf, Ministry of External Affairs, to share additional updates on the situation in the Gulf region.
Good afternoon. Ministry of External Affairs continues to closely monitor the developments in the Gulf and West Asia region. Our efforts are focused on ensuring the safety and welfare of the Indian community in the region. We are in constant touch with the state governments and union territories for sharing information and to coordinate our efforts. The dedicated special control room in the ministry is operational to respond to queries from Indian nationals and their families. Our embassies and consulates in the region are operating round-the-clock helplines to provide timely assistance. They are proactively assisting our citizens. They are also in close touch with the local governments. Updated advisories are being issued, including information related to local government guidelines, flight and travel situation, consular services, and the various welfare measures being undertaken for the community. Our missions are actively engaged with the resident Indian community. They are regularly interacting with the Indian community associations, organizations, professional groups, and Indian companies to address their concerns. Welfare of the Indian seafarers in the region is of high priority for us. Our missions are extending all assistance to them, including coordination with the local authorities and agencies, extending consular assistance, and assisting for requests to return to India. An update on the status of flights. The overall flight situation continues to improve, with additional flights operating from the region to various destinations in India. Since February 28th, around 13,19,000 passengers have traveled from the region to India. Airlines continue to operate limited commercial flights based on operational and safety considerations between UAE and India. Today, around 105 flights are expected to operate from the UAE to India. Flights are operating from various airports in Saudi Arabia and Oman to different destinations in India. Qatar airspace is partially open. Qatar Airways is operating flights to various destinations in India. Air India and Indigo are also planning to resume flight operations from Qatar to India soon. Kuwait airspace is open. Jazeera Airways and Kuwait Airways have resumed limited flight operations from Kuwait to India. Bahrain airspace is open. Gulf Air is operating flights from Bahrain to various destinations in India. Iraq airspace is open with limited flight operations to destinations in the region, which can be used for onward travel to India. Iran airspace is partially open for cargo and chartered flights. We have advised Indian nationals to avoid traveling to Iran and urge those already there to leave via land border routes with our embassy's support. So far, our embassy in Tehran has facilitated movement of 2,461 Indian nationals out of Iran through land border routes. Israel airspace is open and limited flight operations have resumed to destinations in India, to destinations in the region, which can be used for onward travel to India. Thank you.
Thank you for the updates. With this, the floor is now open to questions. We could start from the left. Number 3.
Hi, Sukal from the Indian Express. A couple of questions for Mandeep sir first. So the update that you gave about that ship that was intercepted by the Iranians, if you could provide us more details about, A, how many Indian seafarers were there on board, what was the name of the ship? And I believe you said it was a Togo flag vessel. The other question again is the fact that is about the ships, again, foreign flag ships that had come under Iranian fire and were a couple of them had even been seized by the Iranians last week. Two of the 3 ships that had come under fire had Indian seafarers. One had 22, one had one Indian seafarer. If you could provide us an update about their well-being, what is their status, of the ships as well as the Indian seafarers on board. And just also wanted to understand, it's been about 10 days since the last Indian flagged vessel moved from the Persian Gulf, to the east of the Strait of Hormuz. And after the attack or the fire upon the Salman Herald and the other ship, the Indian ships seem to have gone deeper into the Persian Gulf. And so if you could give us an update on when we can expect the next movement to be.
Number 194.
Thank you. Amar Zadi from Peter. My question is to Department of Fertilizer. Ma'am, can you give us an update of the total imports that we are likely to see in the whole of the season for both urea and other fertilizers? Thank you.
161.
Yeah, just a follow-up to Amar's question for Aparna ma'am. Ma'am, could you provide details on the tenders that we are planning to float for the fertilizers? And for Sujata ma'am, over the weekend we saw several fuel outlets. The media reports that 10% of the outlets in Andhra Pradesh, they ran out of fuel. There was no petrol and diesel availability. Today there was a tweet by the minister saying that Uttarakhand chief minister met him. So can you please provide some details on the availability of the diesel and gasoline at the fuel stations as to what type of stocks they are holding, and in case we are planning to import diesel and gasoline in case we are running short of those products? Thank you.
145 at the back.
Thank you for letting me ask the question. I'm Tuesh from Economic Times. Sir, can we expect any updated advisories?
Could you mention, please, to whom the question is being addressed?
Mandeep, sir.
Oh.
Okay. Sir, can we expect any updated advisories for Indian seafarers in light of the escalated tensions, considering that non-Indian flag vessels are being attacked? So, can we expect any advisories to ensure their safety? And also, sir, has DG Shipping spoken to any of the state governments and their maritime boards regarding passing over of concessions that were decided earlier?
127.
Hi, Deepika from ANI. So my question is from Aparna ma'am. According to some of the media reports, that it is saying that India to purchase fertilizer, that is urea, at nearly double of the pre-war prices. So your stand over it, clarification.
25.
Hello, Rituraj from Mint. My question is on Petroleum Ministry. Following up on what Rakesh ji has asked, these reports of about 421 petrol pumps being shut in Andhra Pradesh. What step is the Petroleum Ministry considering to avert such instances of panic buying? And what's the current stock in terms of petrol and diesel?
Next is 214.
सर रणधीर सर से मेरा सवाल है। रणधीर सर, हम देख रहे हैं मिडिल ईस्ट के संकट के बीच ब्रिक्स समिट पर भी निगाहें हैं भारत की मेजबानी में, और 23 और 24 अप्रैल को दिल्ली में जो डिप्टी विदेश मंत्रियों स्पेशल दूतों की जो बैठक हुई है, इसमें ज्वाइंट डिक्लेरेशन नहीं आया है, क्या इसके पीछे वजह रही है?
Next is 51.
This is Sandeep Das from Financial Express. This is to Aparna ma'am. You said that about 39 million tons requirement for the fertilizer. Out of that, I think 18 million ton is urea, and your stock is about 7 million ton currently. So how do you bridge this gap of about 10 million ton with the tenders? And second point is that you said with the restoration of LNG, the urea production has gone up. How much has gone up in April? And can you give us this tender thing about DAP? How much is the DAP SSB tender floated?
Next is 243.
Shine Mohan from Mathrubhumi. Sujata ma'am, about 42,000 PNG consumers are surrendered their LPG cylinders. How many PNG consumers are still holding their LPG cylinders?
Coming to the center, 187.
I am Achilles Suman from DD News. My question is directed to Randhir Jaiswal, sir. Sir, is it true that India has diluted its long-standing position on Palestine during the recent BRICS MENA meeting? And is it also true that India's refusal to mention East Jerusalem as capital of Palestine has led to lack of consensus for a joint statement? What is the factual position? And sir, I have another question, just because the sanction waiver of America against Chabahar port, the period is over. So what is its latest status and what is the update?
207 on the left. Already asked. Anybody on the right side? Any questions? So I would now invite the officers. Yeah, 76.
Hi, this is Sapna from CNBC TV 18. My question is to Department of Fertilizers. We just wanted to get an idea about the cost escalation that we have been witnessing since last 2 odd months, since the West Asia crisis broke out in terms of our import costs. How much have they gone up by, especially for urea as well as non-urea?
So if there are no further questions, I would now invite the officers one by one in the same sequence as earlier to respond to queries from the media. I first invite Ms. Aparna Sharma, Additional Secretary, Department of Fertilizers, to respond to the queries, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, I think the first question that was asked about the total imports of the season. So the total imports of the season going by in urea, the total imports are likely to the tune of 64 LMT during the Kharif season. And we'll assess the situation again and again and rework it. And likewise in the other areas like DAP and NPKs also, we'll assess the domestic production and will be going in for imports. Already we have floated the tender, aggregated tender on behalf of the companies have been floated by them and in DAP, TSP and ammonium sulfate. The amount is 12 LMT for DAP, 4 LMT for triple super phosphate and 3 LMT, which is a good substitute for urea, that is for 3 LMT. And that has been done on last Friday. regarding the cost, yes, of course, the price of urea that we have discovered through the global tender has almost doubled. So, and the price of other fertilizer has also increased. So that's a fact. And in case of gas also, the prices have increased from about, which is almost double, which is also almost double. Then the other question that was asked about the requirement versus the availability. So urea availability, that we have already informed you that it is 71.58 LMT for the Kharif season against a requirement of the present requirement of 18.17 LMT, which is for the month, and DAP availability is 22.35 LMT, MOP availability is 12.46 LMT, and SSP also availability is 26.26 LMT for the Kharif season. So this clearly indicates a strong opening position for the upcoming Kharif season, and the supplies are exceeding the demand across all the nutrient categories for the country.
Thank you. I now invite Ms. Sujata Sharma, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, to respond to the queries, please.
So the first question was regarding certain retail outlets, stock situation in certain retail outlets in Andhra Pradesh. So I want to bring it to your notice that we have observed exceptional growth in certain areas, like 30 to 33% in the HSD sale. And this is primarily, that is the reason why certain ROs have faced the situation with respect to the availability of the stock. But we are monitoring the situation, and I'm sure by today evening all the stocks will be available at all the retail outlets. As far as the supply of diesel and petrol in the country is concerned, I want to re-emphasize and I want to inform all of you that we have sufficient stock, and sometime because of the panic buying there may be issue, but then that issue is also taken on priority and is resolved, and we don't foresee any situation where we have to go for an import of petrol or diesel. So see, we are in touch with the state government, and through this press conference also I am trying to inform everybody that they should not believe the rumors. We have sufficient supplies and the purchase should be as per the need. Regarding the visit of Honorable Chief Minister Uttarakhand with Honorable Union Minister Petroleum and Natural Gas, the discussion was regarding, it is already there in the tweet, and it was regarding the supplies during Char Dham, and Honorable Minister Petroleum and Natural Gas has ensured all support required. Regarding PNG connection, the consumers with the PNG connections holding LPG connection, I want to reiterate that there is already an order which says that anybody who is having a PNG connection shall surrender it. And through you, I again, emphasize on the same point. And the assessment is also going on regarding the consumers which are having both PNG and LNG, PNG and LPG consumer. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I request Director Shipping for his replies.
जैसे कि आपने नंबर ऑफ इंडियन सीफेयरर्स का पूछा था, जो फॉरेन फ्लैग्स है इसमें टोगो फ्लैग वेसल्स है, इसमें 17 इंडियन सीफेयरर्स है, सारे के सारे इंडियन सीफेयरर्स सुरक्षित हैं, और बाकी भी जितने भी फॉरेन फ्लैग्स पे इंडियन सीफेयरर्स हैं वो सुरक्षित हैं। और एक एडवाइजरी का आपने पूछा था, टाइम टू टाइम डीजी शिपिंग एडवाइजरीज इशू कर रहा है, और जो हमारा डीजी कंट्रोल रूम है वो 24/7 एक्टिव है, और जो मेल्स या फ़ोन के थ्रू जो भी सीफेयरर्स कांटेक्ट कर रहे हैं तो उनको रिस्पॉन्ड किया जा रहा है। जैसे कि हमने पहले भी बताया कि जो सेफ्टी एंड सिक्योरिटी ऑफ सीफेयरर्स है वो भारत सरकार की टॉप प्रायोरिटी है, तो उसमें हम समय समय पे एडवाइजरीज भी इशूज़ कर रहे हैं और इनसे टच में भी हैं। दूसरा आपने पूछा था कि जो कंसेशंस हैं वो स्टेट मैरीटाइम बोर्ड्स ने, जो मेजर पोर्ट्स ने कंसेशन पास किए हैं, मंत्रालय जो स्टेट मैरीटाइम बोर्ड के भी टच में है और वही कंसेशंस जो स्टेट मैरीटाइम बोर्ड्स के पोर्ट्स हैं उन्होंने भी ट्रेड को पास किए हैं। बेशक वो स्टोरेज चार्जेस में कंटेनर के कंसेशन है, जहाँ प्लग इन चार्जेस में, तो उन्होंने भी ये कंसेशंस ट्रेड को पास किए। थैंक यू। MT सिरोन, CHI।
Thank you.
वो तमाम सीफेयर से।
So moving ahead, thank you. I request Shri Randhir Jaiswal, Additional Secretary XP, to kindly respond to the queries addressed to him.
So first, Akhilesh, coming to your question related to BRICS MENA meeting and our position on Palestine, let me clarify the issue for you and for others here. We have seen some speculative and inaccurate reporting on the recent BRICS officials meeting. I would refer you to the joint statement released on the occasion of the India-Arab League Foreign Ministers meeting earlier this year. This meeting happened in Delhi. This outcome was endorsed by all present, including Palestine. It may be noted that many BRICS members also attended the Sharm el-Sheikh summit, supported the Gaza peace plan, as well as UN Security Council Resolution 2803. Differences at the recent BRICS meeting were on account of the ongoing conflict in West Asia. Your question regarding Chabahar, an update as to where we are. This issue is under discussion with both Iran and the United States. Obviously, the current conflict is also a complicating factor. We will keep you posted as the situation evolves. एक सवाल आपका था प्रदीप, ब्रिक्स मेना मीटिंग को लेके। वो मीटिंग जैसा कि आप जानते हैं पिछले सप्ताह दिल्ली में हुई थी। उस मीटिंग के बाद एक चेयर समरी जारी किया गया, जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट नहीं हो पाया, और जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट इसलिए नहीं हो पाया कि पश्चिम एशिया में चल रहे संघर्ष को लेके आम सहमति जो सदस्यगण हैं ब्रिक्स मेना मीटिंग में आए सदस्यगण, उन पे सहमति, उनके साथ सहमति नहीं बन पाई। धन्यवाद।
Thank you. I request Shri Asimar Mahajan, in case he would like to add something to the queries addressed to MEA.
Thank you.
Okay. So, any questions? Any other questions? Yes, please. Number 76, and you could also mention to whom you are addressing the question.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Sapna again to Department of Fertilizer. Ma'am, just wanted to understand, I know it's very early, the financial year has just opened, the first month is not even over, but any kind of anticipated, increase on the subsidy bill that you're expecting, like, 6 months, 8 months down the line? We have seen some subsidy allocation going up for non-urea as of now. So any back of the envelope estimates or any perspective on that front?
Yeah. Yes, of course, as I have already informed, the price of urea, like we had a tender in February and now we had in March, in April. So now the prices have almost doubled. But then there is no change in MRP of fertilizer. So that is a fact that has to be taken with that. And the government is, like we have been communicating with our sister department, expenditure, about the finances. And we have been told that we can keep them informed, and there is no issue on that. Yeah, additionality. Yeah, of course, there are going to be additionalities, and as we go through the year, so we'll be communicating with the Department of Expenditure, Ministry of Finance again and again about the finances part. हिंदी में मैं आपको communicate कर दूँगी brief.
She will communicate it subsequently. In Hindi. Any other question? Number 51.
ask about that? What is the production this month of urea? And you said import will be 6 million ton roughly urea. How do you rest of the thing is we assume it come from the domestic production? That figure actually, you said 6 million ton of urea will be imported during the season. And because our demand is something around 17, 18 million ton in Kharif. So how do you bridge that, the rest of the 2.5 million ton tender has been done. So how do you bridge that rest of the?
Initially during the month of March, because of the force majeure and other reasons, there was a dip in the production. But now we have done all that. We have taken all measures to import gas, even if it is at the higher cost, through our empowered pool mechanism, and with that we have been able to make over. Now the availability of gas with the urea units, which was earlier around 64%, it is now almost 97%. So our production has been very good after that. And after the crisis, the production of urea has been 35.42 LMT. So that is a very good figure. And the imports also, 9.4 LMT of imports have reached our shores, and another 25 LMT that I have told you is already tied up. So I'd like to inform the gathering that most of these imports are out of SOH, that is out of the Strait of Hormuz. So we are very much sure that we'll be getting the supplies timely as per the indicated timelines. Thank you.
So thank you. With this, we come to the end of the briefing. I thank the officers for sharing the updates today, and thank you all for joining.